G'day legends, I hope that you're doing really well. Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. I will never reply to your comment with like a link to any like Telegram or scam or you've won something. So what you'll see on YouTube, it's really common and it's almost impossible to counteract currently, is my name, Willie OAM. Someone will have a very, very similar name, same profile picture, it might be Willie.OAM, something like that. And hey, join my Telegram, you've won a gift. Now I get emailed tens of times a day about this sort of scam, like, hey, is this your thing? It's not, but it's almost impossible to counter across YouTube at the moment. So I'm sorry you guys run into those issues. I'm sure YouTube's working on something, but at my end, it's almost impossible to counter, but I do apologize. Now, Bakhmut is holding, and Zelensky has said that Ukraine will not withdraw, saying that it could be an open road to seize other critical settlements in eastern Ukraine if they capture Bakhmut. Now, Zelensky has said in an interview, this is tactical for us. After Bakhmut, they could go further. They could go to Kramatorsk, they could go to Sloviansk, and that's why our guys are standing there. Now, this contradicts. A lot of people are saying that Bakhmut has no tactical advantage. Now, a friend of mine has said that evac is still underway, and comments by the president are contradictory to what at least they're being told, which he says either means A, it's an attempt to trick the Russians into giving us more time to withdraw, or B, the plan has changed. Either way, we know that Bakhmut is both tactically important and symbolically important, and that the casualty rates on both sides are very, very high, with both sides really claiming that they are wearing down the opposing force and exhausting their troops and equipment. Now, I actually believe this to be true, but on both sides. And I think both sides are wearing each other down dramatically in this area. Now, the United Kingdom's intelligence update says the Ukrainian defense of Bakhmut continues to degrade forces on both sides. Over the weekend, Ukrainian forces likely stabilized the defensive perimeter following previous Russian advances to the north of the town. Now, we've got the maps open, so let's have a look at this. So, as always, we have Ukraine, the capital of Kyiv, Romania, Moldova, Poland, Belarus, and Russia around here. The red depicting what Russia has taken since the 24th of February 22, and the darker red, purple, being what Russia has taken since 2014. So we're going to zoom in here on these red dots into Bakhmut. Now, today is the 8th of March. Last time I spoke to you was the 6th of March. Yesterday I was busy with the podcast, and then me and my partner went and saw Ed Sheeran, which was also great if you have the opportunity. But let's roll back 2 days and see what has changed in those 2 days. So we're back here 6th of March on Bakhmut. So the 7th, we do see a minor push up to the waterway running through this reservoir we've talked about a lot, but that is also relevant across the ISW map, which shows that Russia is seen to hold territory right up to that waterway, but not crossing into the other side of Bakhmut. But we've also seen some movement to the north of Bakhmut between the 7th to the 8th. We've seen some movement down near this reservoir, which is the one that was said to have the dam explosion and flood this region. Now, also what we have seen is to the northwest of Bakhmut, some more Russian gain as well in the west. So if you see, it just pulls out here a little bit and on the north. And this somewhat falls in line with what Soldier X was saying about Russia's advance here is not down a trajectory here. The trajectory is out here in an attempt to cut off Bakhmut, because just isolating somewhere is as catastrophic as encircling something. You don't need to completely encircle something to isolate a region and force a withdrawal from there. And on Bakhmut as well, what we really know is that Russia wants Kramatorsk and Sloviansk, being Kramatorsk here and Sloviansk. These are the major cities left in Donetsk Oblast for Russia to get. Now, there's still a long way to go to these, but there is a lot of speculation about how the front line will look following the withdrawal from Bakhmut. Now, something else we'll look at is some small Russian gains in the direction of Liman. So we're back here on the 6th, we push the 7th, and then the 8th just to the north as well. So this small bit here, and then this bit we saw between the 6th and the 7th near Dobrova. And this is within this heavily wooded area, I believe. as it will load. Yeah, so they're entering into this sort of foresty region, which we've seen a lot of footage coming out of here of very close fighting in these regions. Something that you notice as well that is becoming a bit more obvious is there going to be an attempt to encircle Avdiivka? Now, we know that Avdiivka has been the center of a lot of fighting, not only from this second invasion from 2022, but also back since 2014, with this dark red line here in this purpley region being where Russia has held since then. But if we look over the last couple of days, we're seeing some level of push from the north to the south and south to the north, and creating somewhat more of a potential encirclement in the future. But we don't know, because these encirclements, as soon as you push out on one of these sort of sausages out like this, you yourself are opening yourself up to then getting cut off in the rear as well. And we've seen that happen multiple times. So it is very difficult to know exactly what is happening on the ground, but to my assessment, that is what I see. But that will end our maps for today. Now, footage has been shared widely across social media showing a Ukrainian POW, a prisoner of war, being executed by multiple rifle bursts after saying Slava Ukraini, which means glory to Ukraine. At this point, the source of the video remains unknown, as well as the time and place where it was filmed. This is not the first, and sadly will not be the last time we see prisoners of war executed within this war, with both sides previously having videos allegedly showing the execution of POWs. Now, events like this are sickening, and I don't care what banner you fall under, what flag, what your political views are, everyone should be sickened by acts like this and absolutely condemn it. And those responsible, no matter the outcome of this conflict, should be held accountable. Now, also, President's Office head Andriy Yermak reported that 126 servicemen and 4 servicewomen were released from Russian captivity during a prisoner swap on March 7th. On the other side of the swap, 90 Russian soldiers were returned. Now, also, the New York Times report that new intelligence reviewed by US officials suggest what they say a pro-Ukraine group attacked the Nord Stream pipelines in September. But they are saying that there are no firm conclusions. So they state, officials who have reviewed the intelligence said they believe that saboteurs were most likely Ukrainian or Russian nationals, or some combination of the two. US officials said no American or British nationals were involved. They also state that there was no evidence Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky or other Ukrainian government officials were behind the attacks, which spewed natural gas into the Baltic Sea. That amount of natural gas and the CO2 release is about 1/5,000th of the total world's CO2 for the year. Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about with these explosions, on September the 26th last year, these explosions destroyed the pipelines connecting Russia and Germany, and this occurred within the exclusive economic zones of Sweden and Denmark. Now, 3 separate leaks were recorded off the coasts and were a few dozen kilometers apart. Both lines of the Nord Stream 1 pipeline and along one line of the Nord Stream 2 were impacted. Now, reports from seismologists based in Denmark and Sweden suggest the sizable explosions in the order of somewhere in 100 kilograms of TNT dynamite occurred in these explosions. On each explosion. Now, the destroyed section of Nord Stream 1 at a depth of 76 meters, which this 76 meters is far beyond the limits of any recreational sort of scuba diver, and this is sounding more and more like a planned professional outfit, and the ability also to then access hundreds and hundreds of kilograms of TNT. Now, this raises conspiracies everywhere. Now, both countries, Sweden and Denmark, have concluded the blasts were deliberate. No shit. But they have not said who might be responsible. The US and NATO have called the pipeline attacks an act of sabotage, while Moscow has blamed the West. Denmark, Germany and Sweden said last month their investigations had not yet concluded. Germany's ARD broadcaster and Zeit newspaper have reported, without citing sources, so grain of salt, as everything on the internet, including myself, said that the German authorities were able to identify the boat used for the sabotage operation. A group of 5 men and 1 woman used forged passports, rented a yacht from a Poland-based company owned by Ukrainian citizens. Now, I don't think that we'll ever truly know what happened here, because there are some big players involved and a lot of people who could benefit from this. So, and also have the ability to bury investigations or cover up with other big media stories. So I'm not hopeful of ever knowing exactly what will happen here, but it was a huge impact, and these speculations and new evidences are bringing new things to light. So that's me for today, guys. I hope you're having a great day. Look after yourselves.